Hey there, everybody. Hey, this is Chris. Welcome to the Dice Tower. Today I'm doing my live Q&A. Q stands for questions. A stands for awesome. So welcome to the live questions and awesomes session. I see that people have been hanging out in the chat already. Warms my heart that people are happy here. Hey, I've got an idea of what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do a little game here, a little guessing game for everyone who is. Make sure all the audio and stuff works. Let me know if anything for some reason doesn't work. But I'm going to name 5 musical artists, 4 of which I've seen, 1 of which I haven't, and we're going to just kick it off with a little bit of a game. So in the chat, go ahead and guess which one of these 5 musical artists I have not seen. I have seen many shows. I've not been the biggest concert goer compared to many people I know, but pardon. But here's the 5 in alphabetical order as to not sway or influence anything. All right, number 1, AC/DC. Australian classic rock band. 2, Aerosmith, American classic rock band, revitalized by Run DMC in the 80s. Artist number 3, the Aquabats, third wave 90s ska punk band. Number 4, B.B. King, classic blues guitar legend. And number 5, Mac Sabbath, a modern day parody cover band of Black Sabbath tunes that are fast food themed, with such hits such as I Am Frying Pan. So, those are the 5. Go ahead and guess, right? AC/DC, Aerosmith, Aquabats, B.B. King, Mac Sabbath. Go ahead and guess, and while you're guessing and throwing those out here, I'm going to go ahead and look into the chat here and kind of see if any preliminary questions have popped up or whatever. So, yeah, I see that we've got the standard people here, bright and early, getting a good seat for such a big event as this. Interesting. Tommy Miller put a top 10 list of games early on in the chat. What is the theme of this one? I'm not sure I'm seeing any connecting tissue. Made a top 10 list of games I have only played digitally. Interesting. Yeah, there's a few games that I've actually only played digitally because over most of last year I was playing games on Board Game Arena, and a little bit of tabletop sim and Yucata.de. In fact, my friends and I that I played with, we made fun of, not made fun of, but we made up an imaginary character named Don Yucata, who runs Yucata.de. And Don Yucata is just this, this kind of like mobster crime lord who just wakes up every morning, grabs a big fat cigar, smokes his stogie as he walks down to his basement where he's just got servers and servers that makes up Yucata.de, and he just laughs. These guys playing the digital board games. Anyways, that's Don Yucata. I love Don Yucata. He's one of my favorite memories from last year, even though we completely made him up, I think. All right, so we're getting into I'm scrolling past here to see audio and video look fine. Excellent. Steve Rigatones says, Chris took a beating in the top 10 yesterday. I did not, actually. For one thing, everything that we say to each other is all pretty much all in jest. And 2, a lot of people actually agreed with a lot of my picks, so I feel happy to have braved the waters and put games like Power Grid and Through the Ages on my games that feel very thematic, fit their theme perfectly. But let's see. Jojo guesses I've not seen the Aquabats. Steve Rigatone as well. Rigatones? Rigatones. Let me know. AC/DC. I don't know music. Oh, that's fine. Someone guesses B.B. King, right? Well, a lot of people saying AC/DC. I will go ahead and say the artist that I have not seen live is in fact AC/DC. And so that is one of my regrets as Malcolm Young, their rhythm guitarist, one of the founding members, brother of lead guitarist Angus Young. He passed away a few years ago now. I don't remember how long it's been. But it would have been fun to see that, classic lineup. Not original lineup, of course, but classic lineup. AC/DC is the band I have not seen. I have seen Aquabats. They are fantastic live. They put on a heck of a show. Aerosmith, all original members. Super fantastic show. That was only a few years ago now. By a few years, of course, I mean 6, I guess. But, that's recent. Who else did I say? BB King. If you ever see those things go around on Facebook or social media that are like, tell people you're old without telling people your age. My go-to is, I've seen BB King perform live at the Stardust Hotel in Las Vegas. The Stardust no longer exists. It has been imploded for well over a decade, I think. So that's kind of my go-to line. And then Mac Sabbath, I won tickets to, I think from like a radio contest or from an Instagram contest. It was something weird. I don't know if I've been to a concert actually since seeing Mac Sabbath. I need to fix that. No. I've seen Bare Naked Ladies since then. Okay, good. The last band I have not seen, the last band I saw live was not Mac Sabbath, the fast food McDonald's themed cover band of classic rock. All right. Someone asked what my plans are for the weekend. I'm gonna get together and play some games. We have some friends who moved to the area that are also gamers, and so that's really cool. They're the ones that taught me Spirit Island. So when I gave a shout out to Spirit Island yesterday as one of the, a game that I was considering for the game where the theme fits perfectly, they were super excited that they taught me the game, and sometimes people say, oh, I liked that game. And then sometimes those people go onto a Dice Tower Top 10 list and say, I really like that game and I want to play it more. That made them feel special. So I think we're going to do that. And otherwise, I don't have actually very many plans. So I'm going to enjoy a weekend where I just get to relax and catch up. Do you think zebras and other polar bears exist? I don't reckon they do. How many Arctic zebras are there? That is a bigger question. Okay, so people are talking a little bit about the digital games they've played. Related to concert question, who was the strangest act you ever saw live in Vegas? So Mac Sabbath, I think, kind of takes the cake, which is why I chose that one. One of the opening bands for that show were amazing. One of them was terrible, and I completely forgot their name already. But the other ones were Metalachi, which is they do like a 70s 80s heavy metal covers, but they're a mariachi band, and they're so cool. If you have not seen Metalachi, I would recommend, after this Q&A, of course, go on YouTube and search them up. They're really fun, and they're really talented. So Metalachi opened up, and the other band was Oakley Dokley, which is a Ned Flanders themed, Simpsons Ned Flanders themed metal band. They're kind of a weird post-core, hardcore. They're one of the core type of bands, I think, that I don't like as much, but they're Ned Flanders themed. They literally go on stage wearing green sweaters and mustaches. So that's probably somewhere of those three was like the quirkiest thing I've ever seen live. Hello, Malbus McBoomstick. I take it that you've seen my top 10 Aeon's End Breach mages. I loved Aeon's End Legacy and making my own mage. And of course, I never make characters in Legacy games that have real, non-silly names. So, Miguel, regards to Guatemala. Thank you for joining. Okay, this is important. This is Riga from Rigatoni and Tones, musician. Silly internet name. Rigatones. I might dig that.
Do you have your microphone set to the computer or the camera?
Oh, it says built-in microphone. Hey, somebody earlier said that the audio was coming through nicely, so I assumed that meant sounding good. Hopefully I sound better now, thanks to Roy, the man that makes it happen. This is an interesting question here. What are some experiences you loved the first time, but not so much the second? Could be games or whatever. I know there's foods where I ate it once and then I was like, oh, that's amazing. And then I went to go kind of relive it and it wasn't as good. Especially if there was something I have a fond memory of from childhood. Oh, I loved that movie or that show when I was a kid. Sometimes it's really good to just leave those as distant and happy memories in the past. What I would say is game-wise, I don't know if I've ever had one that fell off that hard.
I really liked Duelosaur Island a lot, but I felt like that was probably one of the games that I felt like I had played out probably the quickest. Not my second play of it, but it started to fade out for me, which is a shame because I think it's got a lot of really neat ideas. And maybe I've stepped away from it now long enough that I could kind of pick it back up and have fun. Steve asks, what's your favorite non-Euro game? So this is where definitions and stuff, become silly. Is Pandemic Legacy, is that a Euro game or whatever? It's, a lot of those co-op games kind of straddle the line of their own thing or whatever. But I'm just going to go ahead and answer this in terms of what is the farthest thing from a Euro game that I really enjoy. And offhand, I'm going to say maybe Nexus Ops is really high up there. And I also really like the Risk Star Wars edition. I feel like that's a really solid game. Two very great combat kind of focused games. Super far from Euro games, but I really, really like them. Is the Garfield Christmas special underrated? Are you talking about the Garfield and Friends animated cartoon show? That's one of those things that might be best left in the childhood. Question. Play a game you don't know with people you do know, or a game you do know with people you don't. That's cool. That's an interesting dichotomy. I really like playing new games. I really like replaying games, and I like playing with all sorts of people. I'm going to lean with playing a new game with familiar people, but of course, when we have the Dice Tower retreats coming up, I'm excited to meet so many new people, and I bet a lot of those people are going to say, hey, will you teach us XYZ games? So it's going to go to that second option a lot. But I do like having a consistent game group. I like having familiar people to play with, co-workers sometimes. But yeah, it's great. Have you heard the Ronnie James Dio and Yngwie Malmsteen version of Dream On? I have not, and that's getting added to the top of my list. But my favorite Iron Maiden album. I don't have to treat these questions that seriously. If I say something and I realize, 10 minutes from now that I was wrong, that's fine. Power Slave is an amazing album. I really like it. Rock in Rio, I know that's not one of their studio albums, but Rock in Rio is one of the best live albums ever produced. So that one's also high up in contention. I like that band a lot. So Somewhere in Time is good. I'm gonna go with Power Slave. I think is my quick go-to answer. Original Aerosmith members are basically just wrinkles on stage at this point. They are kicking, man. I cannot emphasize to you, as of 6 years ago, I cannot emphasize to you how fantastic of performers they still are. There's something amazing with that. Chris, when did you start with the Dice Tower? Were you behind the cam before working on videos? I started here at the Dice Tower in January of this year. And so for the first several months, I didn't have as much on-screen presence, simply because I needed to learn the ropes and figure out how everything worked and whatnot. But before that, I wasn't working for the Dice Tower. Before January of this year, I had my own podcast. I still do, with my wife Wendy, and you can see her on some of the reviews that I do and some of the other things, including an upcoming Foursquares review. Just hinting at something, but so she's around on the channel. We've both done board game media stuff for years, before working here. But yeah, no, January was a new hire, and I have been enjoying it. Chad, BB King was amazing. This just legendary. I don't know. It was so great, and educationally, I really liked. He sat down and he talked about the history of the blues, and he talked about blues, rock and roll, boogie woogie, all coming from the same type. He started playing different types of music to kind of show this the commonality, the roots of everything, and how all of these fantastic forms of music that we have really evolves from such shared roots. And I just to hear and just learn from a legend like that. So great. So great. Now that you've had time to ponder, I've been pondering about this incessantly. Name a Finnish designer, and they're very possibly my favorite. Ooh, Power Slave or Fear of the Dark. Fantastic Maiden albums. I like this. Do you know how I'm old? I saw John Denver at the Concord Pavilion. Yeah, no, you've got me beat, but that's great. But let's scroll through a little bit more. Oh yeah. It's so easy to get caught up behind it. So if I ever do get skip some of your questions and stuff, I apologize. Just trying to keep the flow of it going well. Miguel asks, do you speak other languages? Sí, yo puedo hablar español, pero me falta la práctica, entonces el acento y la suavidad con que yo puedo hablar en español es un poco, necesito una práctica. Pero yo tengo la oportunidad de leer en voz alta de vez en cuando, y cuando me acuerdo de hacer esto, estoy mejor. I do speak Spanish. I learned Spanish speaking. I served a Spanish-speaking mission for my church for 2 years, and so I did have that opportunity. I don't speak Korean, though, which is a shame, because that's where my family hails from, where the last name Yi is from, and so maybe I need to Duolingo that or something. Ugh. Anyway. I don't think I'll ever be able to just bust out a top 10 on the go, but top 10 musicals, I mean, come on. Number 1 is definitely, for me, Fiddler on the Roof. And then outside of that, I really enjoyed Les Mis. I would love to see a stage production of it because I enjoyed the movie. I understand amongst musicals people, Les Mis was not that well regarded among a lot of movie people. The movie had its issues. There's a lot of, up close, those kind of up close, up inside people's nostril shots and stuff. So as a movie, I understand that Les Mis had its issues, but I love the story. I love the performances. I would love to see a stage rendition of it. So I don't know. I'm just going to go with those. Like I said, I'm not going to falter too long on trying to come up with 10 of something, and not get to all these other fantastic questions, like questions about Richard Cheese. I've heard. I've never seen them live, but I do love. I do love the idea of taking rock music, loud music, even just modern pop music, and putting it to kind of these jazzy, standard, lounge music type things. For that reason, I really love Postmodern Jukebox. I know Tom talks about them from time to time. Postmodern Jukebox is kind of a YouTube band. They feel like a bunch of college jazz musicians who got together and decided, hey, let's do a bunch of modern pop music and do it as if these were, 1930s big bands or swing bands or, lounge bands and stuff. And so I really love jazz music. I'm not as well versed in it historically and album-wise and everything. I've heard some of the most important tunes in jazz history, but I really like the idea of jazzifying things. If you've not heard of Postmodern Jukebox, go look them up. My favorite song of theirs is their cover of Umbrella by Rihanna? Something like that. Which food would you erase from history if you could? Mike Delisio and I were having a delightful conversation the other day about head cheese. What's your favorite video or favorite type of board game video to make or be a part of? Doing the top 10 list yesterday was super fun. That's obviously a ton of opportunity to kind of be silly, riff on each other, and laugh and stuff. So I think that those are obviously some of the most fun. They are also ones that kind of take a lot of work up front. But no, I enjoy anything, I think, where you get to kind of be part of the group. I do enjoy reviewing games on my own. I think that's great, and I think it's informative. But anything where there's a group of us together, that's some of the best. I have played Gloomhaven. I've played both several scenarios into the Jaws of the Lion, the smaller box, and we've played a good chunk, like 20-something scenarios of the big box. And then we switched to Jaws of the Lion, and then we moved and have not picked it up since. And so, I really need to pick up. Yeah, wow. We really want to play more Jaws of the Lion, and then when we're done with that, get into regular Gloomhaven. Classes I really liked. I like anything beefy, but I also like stuff that's just kind of moving around on the map a lot is fun. And I can't remember the names of the classes because I've not touched it all year. Oh, is that what I was humming? I think that was Game of Thrones. I think actually what I was going for was bum 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 cartoons. Thanks for a review of Kanban. Saved me $100. That's the thing, is that some of these games are not for everybody. They're not going to be, but they're so beautiful that a lot of times you're like, well, maybe I'll pick it up. And so yeah, if it doesn't sound like it's for you, it's not. But hopefully also some people watched that review and said, yes, that's the kind of tight, thinky game that I would like. You know, I've looked tall. How tall are you two? I don't know, we're both sitting down. I'm not sure how we would get the particular impression that we're tall. No, I am 6 foot tall. I don't think that's private information that I shouldn't be sharing on the internet. I'm 5 foot, or I'm 6 foot, I'm 5'12", I guess. I'm 6 feet tall. What is that, approximately 2 meters? You know, so, and then my wife is shorter than me, 5'6"-ish or so. One question, how dare you? How dare I? I dare do it very happily and very nicely. Do I drink it all? No, I do not drink the alcohol. I do not imbibe, and I don't really feel like I'm missing out, and it's okay. And no, so I don't really have a lot to add to that conversation, which is funny because I really enjoy a lot of games about alcohol. I think I enjoy learning about the process of it. It's amazing to me that humans have discovered if we let things rot the right way, then it's called, then it's called distilling, or a different way, and that's called what is the term? Like how you make kimchi and cabbage, sauerkraut and stuff. I'll remember later. But anyway, yeah, so like the kefir grains and stuff. It amazes me that we've figured out all these things, and I really like that. And I like it as a theme. Some of my favorite heavy Euro games. On Mars was one of my favorites. I gave that very high review, right? I gave that a 9, and that is a definitely complex game. A lot of people say it's more complex than Lisboa, and I disagree. But, that's just perspective. I really enjoyed Cooper Island. I think that one's cool. City of the Big Shoulders is nifty. These are on the heavier side of things, but games that I liked a lot. If you consider La Granja kind of heavy, I don't know if people do. It's very thinky, but a really neat little engine that you build. Oh, I appreciate all the compliments about the quality of my voice. Eric Summer is a better voiced person, but I appreciate that I'm considered anywhere close to that. What's my favorite type of game to cover? If the box is too big, I can't really cover it with my body, but I don't want it too small either because then it'll jab into me. But my favorite type of board game to do a video for, I think my favorite type of game to do a video for are terrible ones. I love getting ramped up and excited about just how awful something was, or just how not thought out. One of the things I've tried to do as a reviewer is be aware of when there's a lot of good ideas, but maybe the game needed more development, or should have had kinks ironed out of it. But anyway. You've added a unique voice to the Dice Tower. Thank you. Is there still a niche left untapped? We do not have anyone here who is big into historical war games. That's one of the things that we're aware of, right? But it's also, I don't want to say it's its own hobby, right? But it's definitely something that people can go deep into. And that's the thing, but plenty of us would play some games. We like to dabble and whatnot. We don't have any 18xx people in the office either, but just the other day I played Steam for the first time, and so I don't mind train games. I like many of the ones that I've played. So yeah, there's still so many niches in the gaming hobby that we have not we just can't cover everything. Oh, I saw this question the other day with some of the other guys too. What's your favorite folklore creature or cryptid? I really like the story behind the New Jersey Devil. It's just so bizarre and weird, and so that one's a fun one here in the United States. Loch Ness Monster is just a fun, like, how does this keep happening? How do people keep thinking that they see it? You know, I'm really curious about that. Do I prefer one big heavy Eurogame or several fillers? It super depends on the evening and the crowd that I'm with. But if I could play one like good solid game, I'd be happy with that. But I also have no issue whatsoever with the game nights where we play like a couple of smaller card games and we play like For Sale and then we play something silly. I really like that. Thank you all, everyone, for the compliments and stuff. Yeah, Steve Rigatones agrees. Rock in Rio is deadly incredible. That's a great way of putting it. Who's the biggest practical joker at the Dice Tower, and what is the best practical joke that you've pulled off since you've been there? I am a bit of a jokester. At previous jobs, I've done more, so I don't know. Watch out, I guess, because especially the job at which I discovered The Office and Jim Halpert, the Office prankster, really spoke to me. But I always believe in doing like nice to neutral pranks, not like anything mean. That would be, I don't like doing anything mean prank-wise, right? Jim in The Office is a jerk. He would be reported to HR incessantly, and then HR wouldn't laugh it off. They would be like, oh, dude, you gotta stop. But I enjoy like pleasant surprises and stuff. My favorite thing I've done since I've been here, actually, this is neutral. I consider this not mean, this is neutral. We had a huge shipment of water delivered, right? Like the 5-gallon water jugs and then some cases of water bottles as well. And so I took a few minutes and I arranged them all around Z's desk and just kind of blocked it off. And so Z walked in and he goes, Did you build a wall? Or is this a moat? And for that joke alone, it was worth it. This is an interesting game. In a group where no one has played a game, would you rather read the rules and teach everyone or have someone else teach it? Oh, man. I think that I'm okay at this, right? Tom is the most experienced person here with it. He's also literally a speed reader, I think. So he can go through and do that much more easily. I don't mind doing it. In fact, I think I would prefer to be the one to do it. But also, depending on how difficult or complicated the game is, I'll usually say, hey, let's table this one for next week, and let's play something that at least we have like a better idea of. All right, I don't know how far behind I am. There's some silly question. How much product is in my hair? I don't know. I just use a squeeze tube of some stuff and I put it in there and I make sure it doesn't fall on my face. No, my hair just kind of goes all over the place. It's not a fro at all, but it just does not look kempt, in fact. And maybe my hair is getting a little long for the way that I do it, so therefore it looks, worse. But I look handsome at the end of the day, and that's what matters. Is there a game that the majority dislike, like majority of people? That's interesting. The majority of this office is not a fan of Aeon Zend, and I am. That's why I put up that video. But majority of people dislike, but I like a game. I don't know. I don't know if I truly do. On Board Game Geek, if you rate games and everything in there, I aired a pen, as if anyone does that on BoardGameGeek.com. But on Board Game Geek, you can look up your profile, and you can look up and if you go through your profile, there's a way to see, like, I think it's under the stats tab. If you fiddle around in there, it's really neat. You can see games that you rate way higher than other people, and games that you rate way lower than other people. So I've looked at that, right? And so some of the things that I have overrated compared to others are games that I really, really enjoy, and other people are high on as well, but maybe not that much. So for example, like King Domino, I rate way higher, I guess, than the average, and so it's kind of high up on that overrating list from my side. But it's not like that's not a majority disliked game. Push by Ravensburger Prospero Hall. Push is a little push your luck card game. It looks like Uno, but it's fantastic. It's super good. I think it mostly just, I don't know if that many people have played it. But that one's one of my, like, overrated. I rate it higher. The Board Game Stories video, yeah, those are really fun to do. If you haven't, so Fulvio Pisani is the guy who does it. He does them originally in Italian, and I just do the voice. So all the editing, everything that is like on the craft side of things, he takes care of all of that. I just speak words. He's really the talent behind them. They're very fun, and so I don't know. It's cool what he does with those games. Interesting. I have to put this one up because just reading it, I'm not sure I understand. Okay, you and a super intelligent snail both get $1 million and become immortal. You die if the snail touches you. It always knows where you are and slowly crawls toward you. Plan? Plan is that I always sleep in a different... $1 million is not that much money, so I would never I mean, that much money in terms of the, like, highly intelligent thing can instantly kill me if it touches me. I think I'm okay having my normal amount of human money and not having that scenario. But my plan, I don't know, that'd be tough. Randomly sleep in different floors of different tall buildings so that I have to ride an elevator up. I don't know. Yeah, that I don't know what my plan is for that. That is such a fantastic scenario that I have no clue. Which is worse, Vegas dry heat or Southern Florida dripping with heat? I will tell you that thus far, I had to fly back to Las Vegas for an emergency in the middle of the summer, and compared to here in Florida, yeah, it's hot both places. It's miserable if you're just standing out in the sun. But just driving around in a car, the car cools down here in Florida. Like if you have the air conditioning, if your AC goes up to like 4, I blast on 3 for a little bit here, and then after a few minutes of driving, I realize, like, oh, I'm perfectly temperate. I'll bump it down. In Vegas, driving around in the middle of the day, I never turn it down from full blast. It is just too hot. That sun is oppressive. All right, let's... oh boy, I spoke in Spanish a while ago, and I'm just getting to some of those comments. So I'm going to keep on trucking here, if you don't mind. And some of these questions I just don't know the answer to. I'm not even going to pull up and say, oh, I don't know. Sorry about that. Super chat. Oh, Gator Dave, you're the best. Tradition. So some people are saying that. I'm thinking that this is in response to Les Mis, like a stage performance of it being made way better than the movie. I'm sure of it. I'm excited to see it one day. All right. I know some people are saying that they have to take off, so I appreciate that. Thanks for coming on by. How important is stats to you on Board Game Arena? Not important at all, because I lose games with regularity. Oh, not stats, sites. How important are sites like Board Game Arena for the hobby? Last year, incredibly valuable to the community. Did a lot for my mental health to be able to play games with people. Our Vegas game group became a Board Game Arena game group because we just played online together. Now, I don't know, that's a curiosity. I'm curious to see what happens with Carnegie, because that was the game that was on Kickstarter while they were on Board Game Arena, like in a beta version. So I'm curious to see if that had a good impact on them, if other people will do that. I know some people do Tabletop Simulator, but I'm curious to see like those pre-programmed websites where the rules are locked in. Anthony Schwartz, why accounting? I assume that you mean my previous life as an accountant. Why accounting? Because it's a solid career that, you know, it's a solid career. And I didn't think that it was going to be soul draining, and it was at one job, but it wasn't in the other. In fact, I would venture to say more accounting jobs are not soul draining, but they're not exactly satisfying. But try Brass Against, a Rage Against the Machine cover band that plays on brass instruments. I've seen them on YouTube. I've seen videos of theirs, and they're super cool. All right, I'm going to keep on scrolling. Like I said, people are talking about postmodern jukebox. Yeah, more reviews with Wendy and I are coming along the way. We're going to finish out the Vital Lacerda titles. So the upcoming review is going to be Vinos, and we're going to do a review of the 2010 edition. And then fermentation, that's the term that I was looking for like 12 minutes ago. So, yeah, so we're going to do Vinos 2010 edition, and then probably in a separate video we'll do the 2016 deluxe, because it has some pretty significant rules updates from what I understand. Favorite children's game? It super depends on what children's game means. Like, our daughter is old enough now that we can play Forbidden Island with her. I wouldn't call that a children's game. I wouldn't call Horrified a children's game, but it works really well with children. One of my favorite children's games, I really liked My Little Scythe. Our daughter was able to play that from pretty young, and it's obviously geared towards children. I don't know how often you'd have a group of adults playing My Little Scythe together, but I like that one a lot. When did you get first introduced to board games? I was first introduced when I came back from my mission, actually. My brother flew down from Alaska at the time, and he was visiting us, and he said, hey, I was introduced by a couple of friends to some really neat games, like board games, like we used to play. And so we used to play growing up Risk and Monopoly and Scrabble and stuff. So he taught us Settlers of Catan, Munchkin, and Dominion. And Dominion was the one that definitely stuck the most with us. Would you be interested in creating a game in the future? Yeah, of course. Absolutely, of course. I've got ideas in the pipeline, but none of them are great or anything. So, yeah, we'll have to, I don't know, one day when life is less hectic, which of course, life will always just be less hectic tomorrow. I'm sure of it. Have you ever been a voice on the radio? I have not. I would love it, though. That would be fun. But in the meantime, being a voice on the YouTubes, on the Dice Tower, is pretty good. Pretty good. Any games you're looking forward to? Are you looking forward to any specific games of the retreat? Yeah, there's a few games I would like to get played, but I'm just kind of open to anything. I don't know, specific games. I wouldn't mind playing things like Nexus Ops again. That would be fun. But I also, of course, I'm hesitant to say too much, because now 20 different people are going to go, oh, I heard you like Nexus Ops. Ooh, I heard you like Dwellings of Eldervale. I do want to get Dwellings of Eldervale played again, but I would need to be taught it, because I certainly don't remember it. Fun fact, that was the first game that I played with the people here at the Dice Tower when I traveled out here. Dwellings of Eldervale, that is. Me and Z need to do a troll off. Ooh, I don't know. We'll see. That sounds dangerous. I don't know any fairy games offhand. Niche is Mike's word. I don't disagree. What games have you given a 10 out of 10 to? I've not yet given a 10, the illustrious, elusive 10 out of 10, on a Dice Tower review, but some of the games that I rate a 10, for example, are King Domino. I think it is absolutely perfect for what that game is. I find almost no fault in King Domino. My only complaint that I really had with it was when you play with fewer people, you don't see every tile, so the distribution is off. But then, if you play the two-player version with the big 7x7 grids, you see every tile, and that game is perfect at 2 players. Dominion is a 10. I believe there's a couple of games that I've given a 10 to, a few that are like 9.5 that are right on the cusp. So yeah, some of my highest rated games are Pandemic Legacy was for sure, and then yeah, just a few others. How am I doing on questions? I got 20 minutes, and there's several out. Yes, yeah. I do want to mention this. I'm the guy that pointed out that garbage is indeed used for power generation, and I stand with you picking Power Grid as a thematic game. I appreciate it. So I misspoke yesterday. I said that the garbage resource in the game Power Grid is just made up. I thought that was kind of maybe Freedom and Freeze being like funny or silly or something. I didn't realize that solid waste burning, I guess, is a legitimate form of energy production in Germany. Maybe it is in the United States. If anyone can speak to that here, I had no idea. But anyway, that's cool. Who's been telling goodnight stories to the marbles while Tom is away? I don't know. That's a good question. I hope the marbles are up to snuff when they start racing again. Or maybe they'll be so anxious to finally get out of their pens. Let's see. That's funny. Yeah. The deluxe power grid did change to natural gas. Maybe it's because that's more universally known. Right. I knew about natural gas, but not waste burning, like solid waste burning. So, but also I didn't like the power grid deluxe print as much as just the basic one. I don't know. Bum 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 bum. See, I'm totally correct. Push is a great game. People agree with me. Personal home board game collection. How many games does it have? It's probably pushing close to 100 at this point, and I think that's too high. It's so hard. I haven't purchased very many games. The only games I've been purchasing recently are things that I'm going to play with our daughter. So I bought a copy of Blank, the little card game where you can write. It's basically Uno, but you can write on the cards. And then Horrified, and yeah, just some games to basically play with the family. Pardon me. All right, scrolling along. I'm not doing too bad on questions, I don't think. Not too. There's a lot of discussion about Mike DeLisio allegedly being a national treasure. Well, let me confirm, he is. If you could do let me add this. If you could do a meet and greet with any music artist, past or present, who would it be, and perhaps why? That's interesting. Any music artist. I don't know. I haven't thought about this type of stuff in a while, but I have yet to see Billy Joel live, and I would love to see him before he. I don't know if he's still performing that much or at all really anymore, but I mean, it's so easy to say someone like Freddie Mercury or someone who's gone, because it's easier to say, oh, if only I could. But I also would like to meet people who are still alive now, so I'm going with Billy Joel. The hottest heat I've ever felt in my life was in Laughlin, Nevada. Laughlin is like retirement Las Vegas. It's not very exciting. It has a bunch of older casinos there. It's kind of on this river. Am I thinking about this right? Laughlin is the one that's adjacent to Bullhead City, Arizona. So when you go there, you're right on the border between Vegas and Arizona, and different time zones. And so people said when you go there, you have to have a watch on because your cell phone will oscillate between what time zone it thinks you're in. It's a disaster to have any types of plans in Laughlin, not because of the time thing, but because you're in Laughlin. Did you go to Notre Dame? I did not, actually. The reason I own this shirt is because I lived in Indiana for my mission, the aforementioned mission where I learned Spanish. And so, I was up in the Goshen area for the first 6-7 months or so, and which is real close to South Bend, where Notre Dame University is. I like the shirt, and also, back in Las Vegas, a lot of people assumed that I was a big BYU fan. I am not. I don't really particularly have college allegiances, but I, people would assume that, you must like BYU, or do you like BYU, Chris? And I would say no, and they say, oh, you must be more of a UVU fan. Is that why? University Valley, Utah, something, whatever. And I was like, no, I don't like any of those schools. So, bam, I got this shirt in part just to rub people the wrong way, because I like doing that. All right, let's keep going on. I did not know this. Larry Correia, the sci-fi fantasy author, used to be an accountant. Huh. I did not know that. Top 3 root factions. So I like the Woodland Alliance probably the most. They're so fun. They're so very, very fun. Vagabond's good. Lizard Cult is odd, but kind of neat. No, I mean, I'm going to go with base box factions because that's the ones that I know the most. I've not gotten to play a lot of the expansion stuff. But yeah, in order, I really like the Woodland Alliance. And then the Vagabond, because they're just so zany. And then I like the cats. I think the cats are a cool, engine build type thing. I don't know if I've played a lot of expansions this year. That might be a big hole in my gaming experience. I don't know if I played a ton of expansions. Yes, I do love progressive bands, Rush and Dream Theater. I've not heard Porcupine Tree, actually. Mike was just showing me some Mastodon, and some of the, they've kind of shifted a little bit more proggy in the last few albums, and so I was listening to that. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, I definitely enjoy prog stuff. So, let's see, let's keep scrolling through. I don't know the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow. Yeah, it would be really fun. It would be really fun if Wendy was able to join for Board Game Breakfast or something like that. I mean, it's just kind of based on availability and need and everything. I'm not even usually on Board Game Breakfast, so no, that would be really cool, though. I would like to see some of that happening. King Domino's really gone up for me. See? I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. That was for you, Mike. And for, remotely for Z, even though he's not here to appreciate it. Hardest Lacerda game to teach and favorite Lacerda game. Favorite Lacerda game, Escape Plan, because it's also not the hardest to teach. Hardest one to teach, I think, was probably Lisboa. Vinhos wasn't bad. I've not yet taught the Gallerist. I've only been taught the Gallerist, so I don't think that one's that bad, because the idea of select an action and then kick out bonus is not hard to grasp. I think Lisboa is just one of the hardest to understand because it's very, very multi-use card. I love multi-use cards, but it's difficult to just. You can't just say, here's a brief overview of how you use the cards. Now let's go into detail of what those do, because everything is so interconnected. So I think that's probably my pick for hardest one to teach. Trash incinerators are a thing in Europe. Okay. Mike Delicio asks, oh, I got a super chat from Ken. Did I miss that, or have I not gotten there yet? I just want to call this one out. From Ken, Hippo character applauds whilst nodding in approval, saying GG. Hippo character. Is this something that I should be aware of? I'm not sure that I get it. What's the Hippo character from? You let me know. Yeah, waste power. I'm getting a lot of comments about the waste power. Yeah, I'm sorry that I spoke in ignorance. The things that you never know that you never know. You never knew you never knew. If Chris and Roy were members of the Justice League, as in Snyder picks, yeah, sure. The Justice League, which would we both be? Roy drinks a lot of G Fuel, so he'd be the Flash? I guess that's the easy way to go. And then me, I'll be Aquaman, because nobody cared who I was until got that Snyder rebooting done. Yes, I basically do work in a board game library. It's hard to justify buying too many games because of that. Okay, so I'm doing pretty good on questions here. I don't think I missed too much. Kabuki Kid, thank you for coming. Always happy to have you around. Anyone who's, and the people who have volunteered to moderate and stuff, we really appreciate all of that. And yeah, I mean, it's great to see both people that I recognize the names of and a lot of new people, by the way. So I really appreciate everyone coming out for that. Ooh, I saw Opeth live back in 2006 or 7. Yeah, that's a band I have not seen live either. It's one that I would like to get into a little bit more. Steve asks about Opeth. Yeah, no, they're a band that I have not known very well. I've not like listened to an entire album of theirs through. So okay, I'm going to take this as a recommendation that I should. Who did I say I was going to look into earlier? I forget. Someone had asked. Someone had said something, and I said, I want to look into that band, but I didn't want to be rude and pull up my phone and start taking notes, and now I wish that I did. I'll just have to rewatch my own video and appreciate my clever wittiness all over again. Lisboa's artwork gets in the way of learning the game. I don't know. It's so hard because I think that Lisboa might genuinely be one of the best looking games I've ever played. Graphic design wise, Eno2 does a lot of great stuff. He does a lot of great work. And I feel like a lot of it does make sense, but also, the artwork is just how busy the board is. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because I think it just genuinely looks amazing. Favorite Aeons and Nemesis to play against? Oh, that's a really good question. There's one in the Aeons and Outcasts box that I really enjoyed simply because they really change up the format of the game, which I thought was cool. I don't remember what they're called, but of the base game, I think I've played the most. Oh, you know what? In Legacy is my favorite one. I won't say. There's the Brainwave one. If you've played that one, where you have to actively like create these brainwave connection things. If you've played it, you know what I'm talking about. If you've not played it, that makes no sense to you. So I think that one's my favorite. Of the base game one, I really like the one that gobbles up the cards, the Glutton. It's so hard. I really struggle beating that one. I thought that was a really cool way that it's eating the supply piles though. And so that's like an extra loss condition. I think that's really clever. I like when there's nemesis or bad guys in games that do that type of stuff. Ooh, Diamond. Oh, maybe that's what it was. I was supposed to listen to Dream On by Yngwie Malmsteen and Nether Artist. But okay, so Diamond Head covering Metallica's No Remorse was pretty amazing. Okay. I'm going to have to look that up too, because that sounds awesome. Favorite fast food restaurant / items. I mean, so genuinely my favorite fast food place is probably Little Caesars, because just like that the value to dollar ratio is absurdly high, and I still do think like an accountant sometimes. But no, I would much rather eat at like I like In-N-Out Burger. I know people say that's an overrated burger. It's a fast food burger, okay? It's better than McDonald's, by far. And it's not that much more expensive either. So in terms of fast food, I really like that. I really like Little Caesars. You can tell I'm a high-class person based on the food that I like. Are any games you wish you could break back out but can't due to schedule? Oh my gosh. I haven't played Brass Birmingham. I put that on the wall up there. I think it's just out of shot. That's what this is. You can see the names: Matt Tolman, Martin Wallace, Gavin Brown. But it looked bad if the camera was too far out. Really want to play Brass Birmingham again. I really want to play Uwe Rosenberg Viking game, A Feast for Odin again. There's so many classics I love that. Yeah, it's just hard because I like the job a lot. I like playing new games, and so I play plenty of new games. It's not, oh, poor me. I'm so inundated with awesome, cool new games and a lot of bad ones. But, I don't get to play my favorites. It's all right. All right, scrolling through here. I don't disagree, Kabuki. I will say, playing Vinos, the 2010 printing of it, right? Not the 2010 side of the deluxe edition, but the first printing of it. Playing the original Kanban, playing these games that I have played Ian O'Toole graphic design art reworkings of, and then going back to older ones, it's harder. It really is harder. I think the two of them, Lacerda, O'Toole, make a really great team. Okay, see, the people agree with old Chris Yee. Yeah, Anzen Legacy is fantastic. I really like that whole thing. I did try Whataburger, actually. Waterburger. I tried it twice, I think, when we drove through Texas. I liked it. I liked it a lot. If memory serves, it was a little pricey, but it was, we were driving across the country, so I was okay with, paying the little price, paying a little pricier. I enjoyed it. Of course, it's nowhere remotely close to where I live currently, nor where I plan to, visit, such as Vegas, with regularity. So it is a little bit harder for me to say whether it's too high up there or not. Coming in late, started from the beginning. I saw the tour Chris is talking about. Max Sabbath, Metalachi, and Oakley Dokley. Max Sabbath was rough. They were funny but terrible, and we stuck through the whole thing simply because I could not believe I was watching a person in a Ronald McDonald clown makeup outfit with like the Ozzy Osbourne big tassels going around yelling, "I am frying pan." So great. Okay, well. Looking at here, last few questions. Last few questions for time, which unfortunately all good things must come to an end. And so, do I have any pets? Absolutely not. Unfortunately, I am very allergic to almost every animal on this green planet of ours, and I'm allergic to most of the plants as well. So I lead a life where I sneeze a lot. And everything. So I basically take an allergy pill every day at this point because it just wasn't even worth it the days that I didn't take it. And then you get off of a cycle, and it takes your body a few days to kind of, if you're taking the antihistamines, to unhistamine. So no, unfortunately, pets would be not a death sentence for me, but a lack of sleep and uncomfortable breathingness sentence for me. Favorite TV comedy show? I'm really partial to Parks and Recreation. It's one of my shows that I keep going back. Well, I can't go back to it now because it's not on Netflix. And I'm not paying for Peacock, but I have such fond memories of that. New Girl, I also really loved. Every time I get sick, every time I get like very sick, like bedridden for a day or two, I'm like, I'll pop on some New Girl. I haven't watched that in a little while, and I love that show. So yeah, those ones are really, really great. Some of my favorite TV shows, and of course, The Office. Like to me, that's like a really good. I haven't rewatched The Good Place. It's the other Michael Schur show. The Good Place was so just thoughtful as well as hilarious and everything. I would like to probably rewatch through that actually as well sometime, because that show is a show that really grew. Every season from one to the next is very different from the last season, but builds on it in such a smart and thoughtful way. So I'd like to revisit that sometime. Looky here, Mr. Ian O'Toole, man of the hour apparently, as we've been very much complimentary towards you here. So I hope you had a good, feel good, pat yourself on the back kind of moment as we, as I just had up on the screen a few minutes ago. I think Ian O'Toole is the greatest graphic designer of our era. Oh, I did see that someone else mentioned that Ian O'Toole and the Miko are two of their favorite artists, and I got to agree. If you didn't watch the Board Game Breakfast yesterday, or the news segment, we were talking about a game with just absolutely fantastic illustration in it called The Unconscious Mind. So it has both Vincent Dutrait and Andrew Bosley, and the two of them working together on a game sounds so cool. Go check that. Look at that cover if you want to see some fantastic illustration that I'm really excited about. Yes, others are joking that we summoned Ian O'Toole by saying his name too many times. Ian, I'm sorry if this is getting uncomfortable. Bum. Wearing a Cones of Dunshire shirt right now. Fantastic. What can I say? I think that we're starting to get to the end here, and unfortunately, I would love to be able to stick around for another few hours and do this and stuff. And but I think it's better to leave people wanting more. So with that, I'll agree. The calzone is great. I did go to Little Caesars and try out their crazy calzone, and I tell you, that thing is an abomination, and it's full of so many calories. And I consumed pretty much the whole thing over the course of not that long. I did spread it out over like 3 days. I'm proud of myself for that. If you haven't seen this it's like a ninja star of a pizza. There's a little miniature pizza in the middle surrounded with 4 arms, 4 tentacles of calzones. It's an abomination. It shouldn't exist, but it's also kind of tasty. So yeah, so I think that is a fantastic way to be ending our Q&A today. Thanks so much for joining, talking about music, talking about the shows that I've been to, summoning from the depths of the internet, graphic designer and illustrator Ian O'Toole. This has been one of the best Q&As that I've done all day. And with that, thank you so very much. This is the last live streaming thing that we're doing for this week. Next week, though, Tom and Z will be back, so Tom will be hosting Board Game Breakfast, and then there will also be some live plays. Tom is going to do a couple of Haba games, I believe with his family. On Tuesday, there's going to be several of us here live playing Masters of the Universe by Simon. And there's going to be plenty of live stuff next week, so come out, check it out. It's going to be a really fun week. Have a great weekend. More videos, more top 10s, and more other stuff is going up. The Foursquares review of Dark Ages is going up on Sunday. So it's going to be fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for coming on by. Have a great weekend.